Choosing the wrong shoes for bunions can make them look and feel worse. But before we get to the shoes, here are my top 3 tips to use when searching for shoes for bunions. So tip number 1 is always take the insert out of a shoe, place your foot flat on the shoe, and make sure that your foot doesn't bulge over the edge or over the top of the shoe. Certainly if it goes over the edge, it means that the shoe is too narrow for your foot, and it's likely to irritate your bunion and squeeze it, compress it, and potentially make it worse. So that's really important. Then tip number 2 is making sure that you don't have it too flexible of a shoe, especially if you have a painful bunion. So those of you with a stiff, painful bunion, if it's very easy to bend the shoe in the middle and your toe doesn't like to be extended, then that's likely to aggravate your symptoms. And then the third tip is to consider toe spring in a shoe when you're buying a shoe. So if you look at a shoe like this on Cloud, it tilts up towards the toe, therefore holding your toes in slight extension, and this has potential to irritate a bunion, especially if you've got any osteophytes on top of the bunion, as it can just cause it to pinch at the top. Then when we think about the top 5 shoes, let's start with the widest shoe that I've ever tested before, and that's the New Balance More V6. So as you can see underneath, we've got a really broad platform that doesn't narrow too much in your midfoot. That means that it allows a really wide toe box on top of the shoe. Unlike most wide shoes, it also comes with excellent lockdown on the midfoot and on the heel, so your foot doesn't move around in it despite it being so wide. It comes in a wide and an extra wide version as well. It's got nice balanced cushioning, and it's an excellent option as a lifestyle shoe, or if you wanted a versatile shoe to use for easy runs as well. Then we have a relatively contrasting shoe in a brand that you may not be familiar with, and that's the Topo Phantom 4. Now Topo are renowned for having an anatomical toe box, so that's where it's really broad in the toe box, and in our opinion it also has the best fit overall on the market, and that's because it locks down really well in the midfoot and in the heel. So this is an excellent option for those of you who have a narrow heel and midfoot, but because of your bunion, your foot really broadens out in the forefoot, and you find that if you get a wider shoe, the back of your foot still moves around the shoe, it's just too wide. Well, you won't have that with the Topo Phantom 4. Excellent lockdown, not as bulky or as clunky as what we see in the New Balance More V6, and it's a bit more of a subtle shoe overall. So this can be used for a lifestyle shoe or 5 to 10k runs. Then if you're looking for a more orthotic-friendly shoe, for those of you who have insoles or custom orthotics, look no further than the Brooks Ghost Max 3. Another excellent wide platform, similar to what we see in the New Balance More V6, but just slightly narrower. It's got a really wide toe box, but in addition to that, it's got quite a lot of volume in the toe box in terms of height. So when you put your orthotic inside of there, it means that it's not pushing up at the top of the shoe, and you've got extra space in the width as well. This also comes in a wide version. It's got a firmer cushioning than what we saw in the Topo and the New Balance More V6. So it's a bit more balanced overall, with a 6mm drop from the back to the front of the shoe. So you get a nice even spread of pressure across your foot if you want to use it for standing for long periods of time, or if you're someone who goes for longer walks. Then we get a lot of requests for minimalist or zero drop shoes. So we've included the Altra Via Olympus 2. In our opinion, barefoot shoes for someone with a painful bunion isn't a great option. It's more likely to irritate your symptoms, so a nice compromise is the Via Olympus 2, which has no difference in the height from the back to the front of the shoe, so you get a nice even distribution of pressure across the foot. It's really stiff in the forefoot, giving you extra protection for those of you who have painful bunions. It's also got an anatomical toe box similar to what we see in the Topo Phantom 4, so you've got lots of space for your toes to splay in there. It's got a great lockdown, but it's got a very flexible heel at the back for those of you who enjoy that softer sensation at the back of your heel. So an excellent option if you want more of a cushioned shoe. Now the cushioning, despite it looking like it's got quite a lot underneath your foot, is quite firm on this shoe, and the firmest of the 4 shoes that we've discussed so far. So zero drop, firm cushioning, plenty of space for your toes to splay, and a relatively good lockdown in the midfoot. Then finally, for those of you who have some more stability needs, you might look towards the Hoka Gaviota 5. Now this has a H-frame built into the midsole, which keeps you centered in the shoe as you move. So excellent option for those of you who need some overpronation control. Maybe you've got a flatter foot and you've got a bunion, so you need that extra element of support. And it's got the widest toe box of all the Hoka shoes that I've reviewed so far, which is pretty much every Hoka shoe on the market. It's got a nice narrow midfoot and heel, so it gives it excellent lockdown, loads of space for your toes to splay, and it's more of a plush cushioning, so you sink into it. It's more cloud-like, more like a pillow feel compared to something like the Altra Via Olympus 2. So an excellent stability option if that's something that you're looking for. 5 contrasting shoes, but if you've got any questions questions on them, drop in the comment section below. I've got links to them in the description if you want to check out the latest prices on Amazon.